What if I told you that the best way to succeed in life isn't by following the crowd, but by being a little crazy like a fox? What if everything you've been told about playing it safe, sticking to the rules, and following the formula was wrong? What if being crazy was actually the smartest thing you could do? I know it sounds wild, it sounds risky, but stick with me for a moment because what I'm about to share with you will change the way you see success forever. Now you might be wondering, what does being crazy like a fox even mean? Well, let me break it down for you. When we think of someone being crazy, we usually imagine reckless behavior, poor decisions, and a lack of care for the consequences. But what if I told you that's not the kind of crazy we're talking about? Being crazy like a fox isn't about losing control. It's about thinking and acting in ways that the world may not understand, but that lead to extraordinary results. It's about moving differently, making decisions that others might see as foolish, but that you know are strategically wise. It's a kind of brilliance that doesn't follow the rules of the average person. It creates new rules entirely. You see, the fox is not the loudest animal in the forest, nor is it the biggest or the fastest. It doesn't make a scene, it doesn't waste energy, and it certainly doesn't follow the herd. It moves quietly, but it moves with purpose. It outsmarts its predators and catches its prey with cunning, not brute force. It's what I like to call crazy clever. The fox knows that sometimes the greatest strength comes from being underestimated, from staying under the radar, and from thinking one step ahead. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you why being crazy like a fox could be the most intelligent decision you ever make. I'm going to share with you how thinking outside the box, stepping away from conventional wisdom, and taking bold risks can lead you to the kind of success that others only dream about. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand why crazy is the smartest strategy, but you'll also learn how to embrace this mindset in your own life. Listen, the road to success isn't always paved in gold, and it doesn't always look like what the world tells you it should. Sometimes the road to greatness is a bit messy, it's unpredictable, and it requires you to get a little crazy. But here's the thing, when you're crazy like a fox, that messiness isn't chaos, it's strategy. That unpredictability isn't failure, it's progress. And that risk? It's the pathway to your breakthrough. You've been told to follow the crowd, stay in your lane, and play it safe. But what if playing it safe is exactly what's holding you back from your true potential? But here's the thing. If you want to truly make a mark in this world, if you want to break barriers, shatter ceilings, and leave a legacy, you can't just follow the script everyone else is reading. You've got to be willing to write your own. And to do that, you've got to get a little crazy. Not reckless, not foolish, but crazy in the way that makes others doubt you at first, but later stand in awe of your brilliance. You've got to be like a fox. It's time to break free from the chains of convention, to stop worrying about what other people think, and to start thinking differently. If you're ready to start thinking like a fox, if you're ready to break free from the norms that are holding you back, and if you're ready to embrace a smarter, bolder way of achieving your dreams, stay with me. Over the next few minutes, I'll show you how to unlock the power of crazy like a fox. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll be ready to make some moves that'll shock the world. Let's dive in. The power of nonconformity. Now let's talk about the power of nonconformity. When you're crazy like a fox, it often means you're not just thinking outside the box, you're throwing the box away altogether. Nonconformity is about breaking free from the rules, the expectations, and the paths that society or the world tells you to follow. It's about going against the grain, challenging norms, and doing things that other people might see as unconventional, rebellious, or even foolish. But here's the truth. Often, it's that very crazy thinking that leads to true innovation, true freedom, and true success. Think about some of the greatest minds and innovators in history. People like Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, or Oprah Winfrey. These are individuals who didn't just follow the rules, they made their own rules. Let's take Steve Jobs, for example. Jobs didn't create Apple by playing it safe or by sticking to conventional methods. He revolutionized the tech world by thinking differently, by designing products that didn't just function, but that changed the way we experience the world. He wasn't worried about fitting into the norms of what people expected from technology. He wanted to create something new, something that would shift the entire landscape of what was possible. Elon Musk is another great example. When he started Tesla, the idea of electric cars being mainstream seemed like a pipe dream. Most of the world was still skeptical about the future of electric vehicles. But Musk didn't let that stop him. He didn't just accept the way things were. He envisioned a world where sustainable energy could transform not only transportation, but the future of our planet. And now, Tesla is a billion-dollar company and one of the most valuable car manufacturers in the world. Musk is crazy like a fox because he defied the status quo, followed his vision, and created a new reality. And then there's Oprah Winfrey. Oprah didn't grow up in a world that expected her to be a media mogul. She faced unimaginable hardships, was told that her dreams were too big, and that she would never make it in television. But she didn't conform to what others believed about her. She didn't accept the limits that society tried to place on her. Oprah built an empire by doing things her own way, taking risks, and being unapologetically herself. She wasn't afraid to speak out, to break the mold of what a female television host was supposed to look like or act like. And she didn't just become a TV star, she changed the entire landscape of media and entertainment. But nonconformity isn't just for the Elon Musks or Oprah Winfreys of the world. It's for you. It's for anyone who's ever been told that their dreams were too big, too unconventional, or too crazy. Nonconformity is a mindset that you can apply in your own life no matter where you are or what stage of life you're in. Maybe you've got a business idea that's different from what's out there. Maybe you've got a vision for your life that doesn't fit into the mold your family or friends think you should be following. Maybe you're pursuing a career that doesn't seem secure or traditional, and everyone around you is telling you to play it safe. I'm here to tell you that the moment you decide to stop conforming to other people's expectations, to stop playing by the same rules, is the moment that things start to change. It's the moment you decide to be crazy like a fox. So how do you apply this in your own life? How do you start thinking like a fox? First, you have to be willing to challenge the status quo. Ask yourself, what if I did the opposite of what everyone else is doing? What if I broke the rules in a way that was strategic, in a way that moved me closer to my goals? Second, you need to embrace failure as part of the process. When you're going against the grain, you will fail. But failure is just feedback. It's not an endpoint. It's a lesson, a stepping stone. Third, trust your intuition. When you're being crazy like a fox, you have to trust your gut, even when it doesn't make sense to others. Listen, I get it. It's not easy to go against the flow. It's not easy to break away from what everyone else expects from you. But I promise you this. Staying in the box will keep you small. It will keep you stuck in mediocrity. But when you decide to be crazy like a fox, when you decide to break free from the box, that's when you start to see real change. That's when the doors you never thought possible start to open. That's when you unlock your true potential. So now that you understand the power of nonconformity, let me ask you, are you ready to stop playing by everyone else's rules? Are you ready to think differently, break the mold, and create something extraordinary with your life? Remember, the fox doesn't follow the crowd, it leads the way. And now, it's time for you to do the same. Wise madness versus foolish risk. Now let's talk about something very important. Being crazy like a fox doesn't mean being reckless. No, it doesn't mean running into situations without a plan or without thought. It's not about acting impulsively or jumping into danger without thinking twice. What it means is knowing exactly when and how to take calculated risks, knowing when to move and when to stay still, and understanding that sometimes being crazy is actually the most strategic move you can make. Let me explain. A fox, when it's hunting or moving through the wild, doesn't just run around blindly. It's strategic, it's crafty, it's patient. A fox knows its environment. It understands when to wait, when to move, and when to act with precision. If it takes a risk, it's because it has considered the outcome. It's not just acting on impulse. It's using its intelligence, its experience, and its understanding of the situation. That's the essence of wise madness. It's about using your mind and your heart together to make decisions that, while they may seem risky, are actually calculated. Think about the way a fox behaves in the wild. It doesn't simply dart off into the forest without any thought. It takes the time to assess its environment, it watches carefully, and it plans its next move. When it strikes, it's with precision and purpose. The fox doesn't risk its safety on a whim, and it doesn't throw itself into dangerous situations without knowing what's at stake. That's how we need to approach our own lives. Yes, we must be willing to take risks, but we must also be willing to stop and think, to take a step back and look at the full picture before we act. Here's the kicker. Sometimes the wisest move you can make is to appear crazy to those who are too afraid to take risks. Sometimes, the best decisions are the ones that look the most insane from the outside. You see, the fox knows that sometimes it has to take risks that others won't understand. It might seem foolish, even reckless to someone who's afraid of change, afraid of the unknown. But in reality, it's the fox's ability to think differently, to step out of its comfort zone, and to trust its own instincts that makes it a successful hunter. It's the same for you. Look at people like Richard Branson. He has started dozens of companies, each one crazier than the last. Virgin Galactic, Virgin Records, Virgin Airways. He's a risk taker, yes, but he's not reckless. He's strategic, and he's willing to make moves that others think are too dangerous. Why? Because he knows something they don't. Sometimes you have to be willing to look crazy to win big. He's been called crazy for some of his ventures, but today, he's one of the wealthiest men in the world. Why? Because his risk paid off. It was calculated, it was strategic, and it was bold. Let's look at more examples of wise, crazy moves that paid off. Take the story of Jeff Bezos and Amazon. In the late 90s, Bezos had the crazy idea to sell books online. People told him it would never work. They said that no one would ever want to buy books on the internet. Yet Bezos didn't listen to the doubters. He took a huge risk, invested his time, money, and energy into an idea that seemed insane at the time. Fast forward to today, and Amazon is one of the most successful companies in the world. That crazy idea changed the face of retail forever. And let's not forget about Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. She had a crazy idea to create a line of slimming undergarments that would change the fashion industry. People thought she was out of her mind. She was rejected by multiple manufacturers, but she persisted. Today, Spanx is a billion-dollar company. Blakely didn't just take a risk. She took a calculated risk, a strategic risk, and she trusted her vision. Now, she's a self-made billionaire. That's the power of being crazy like a fox. Now, I want you to think about your own life for a moment. What are the risks you've been avoiding? What's the crazy move that you've been afraid to make because you're worried about how it will look to others, or how it might fail? I want you to think about it for a second. Don't just let this be another video you watch. Let this be a moment of reflection. What risks are you willing to take that will move you closer to your dreams? What would happen if you stopped playing it safe and embraced the crazy decision? Think about it. Because the truth is, if you keep playing it safe, you'll never know what could have been. But if you embrace wise, calculated risks, if you trust your gut and make moves that others think are crazy, that's when your life will truly begin to change. So as you move forward in your journey, remember this. It's not about being reckless. It's about being strategic. It's about knowing when to take the risk, when to be patient, and when to make your move. Be wise in your madness. Be the fox. Don't be afraid to look crazy to those who are too afraid to take the same leap. Your crazy could be the smartest move you ever make. And remember, while others are playing it safe, you'll be out there leading the pack, making the moves that others are too afraid to try. The power of perception. Here's something that I need you to understand. There's a massive difference between perception and reality. What people see isn't always the truth. When you make a move that's bold, that's unconventional, that's crazy like a fox, others will see it, and they'll form opinions. They'll call you reckless. They'll call you foolish. They might even call you a failure before you've even had the chance to succeed. But here's the truth. Just because the world calls something crazy doesn't mean it's not the smartest decision you can make. The reality of what you're doing is often completely different from how others perceive it. What they see as crazy, what they see as reckless, could very well be the calculated risk that will change your life. The fox knows that just because others don't understand its move doesn't mean it's not the right one. You see, perception is subjective. People's judgments are shaped by their own fears, their own limitations, and as long as you're living within those confines, you'll never do anything that seems crazy. But to achieve greatness, you must move beyond what others think is safe or sane. You must learn to see beyond the perception and trust your own vision. Take Thomas Edison, for example. When Edison first began working on the electric light bulb, people thought he was mad. They laughed at him. "There's no way a light bulb will work," they said. "No one will ever replace candles or gas lamps." But Edison didn't let the perception of others stop him. He failed hundreds, even thousands of times, but each failure brought him closer to success. What looked like a waste of time to some was actually a series of calculated risks, each one providing valuable lessons. Edison's crazy obsession with lighting the world was anything but reckless, and guess what? He succeeded. And now, we live in a world where his invention has transformed how we live, work, and play. The lesson here is simple. Just because others don't see your vision doesn't mean it's not worth pursuing. And who could forget about Walt Disney? Walt Disney was laughed at, rejected, and told that his ideas were absurd. He was told his idea of creating an entertainment empire that would center around cartoons and amusement parks was crazy. He was told he didn't have the skills, the experience, or the money to succeed. But what did Disney do? He pressed forward. He created a whole new world of magic, imagination, and dreams. Now Disney is one of the most influential companies in the world. Every time you see Mickey Mouse, every time you watch a Disney movie, remember this. It all started with a dream that looked crazy to everyone else. Let me tell you something, and I need you to hear me loud and clear. When you see someone doing something bold, something crazy, know this. The world will call them mad, they'll call them foolish, they'll say they're destined to fail. But here's the thing, they won't call them mad once they succeed. Once they win, once their idea works, once their crazy move pays off, the same people who laughed at them will be the ones calling them genius. Look at people like Steve Jobs. He was considered crazy when he first introduced the iPhone. People said it was too complicated, too unnecessary. They said no one would want a phone that was more than just a phone. But Steve Jobs didn't let the naysayers stop him. He kept pushing forward. Today, the iPhone is one of the most revolutionary products in history. Everyone who once doubted him now calls him a visionary. And let me tell you something. That's the power of sticking to your vision. The world will always question your decisions until they see your success. Now, I want you to understand something. You are capable of doing this. You are capable of shocking the world with your own fox-like moves. Maybe you've been holding back because you're afraid of what others will think. Maybe you've been afraid to take that risk because you're worried about being labeled crazy. Well, let me tell you this. If you're going to make it, you're going to have to take risks that others won't take. You're going to have to make decisions that others won't understand. And when you do, they will call you crazy. But you'll know the truth. You'll know that you're being strategic. You'll know that you're being smart. And when that risk pays off, when you succeed, you'll shock the world. And everyone who laughed at you will be the first to say, "I knew you could do it." The power of perception is real, but you have the power to change it. You have the power to move beyond what others see and trust in what you know to be true. So, stop worrying about how crazy you look. Embrace it. Embrace your vision. Embrace your boldness. And get ready to shock the world with your fox-like moves. Because once you do, the world won't see you as crazy anymore. They'll see you as a visionary. And that's when the real success starts. So, as you go out into the world today, remember this. Perception is just a view, and views can change. What looks crazy to the world today may very well be the breakthrough of tomorrow. Don't let other people's perceptions stop you. Keep pushing forward and let your fox-like moves speak for themselves. Overcoming fear and doubt. Let's talk about something that we all face, something that we can't escape. It's there, every time we take a step forward in our lives. It's called fear. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of looking crazy, fear of what people will say, fear of the unknown, fear of stepping into unfamiliar terrain. It's a constant companion in every journey, in every dream, and in every bold move you're about to make. But here's the truth. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is just a signal that you're about to do something big. Every time you've ever felt fear, whether it was the fear of judgment, the fear of failure, the fear of being labeled crazy, I want you to remember this. Fear is simply a sign that you're pushing against the boundaries of what you know. Fear means you're growing. Fear means you're about to break through into something bigger. And it's exactly in those moments when fear is staring you down that you must act. I want you to picture a fox for a moment. The fox doesn't run around blindly. It's not reckless. It's not running in fear. The fox is calculating. The fox knows the terrain. It knows the challenges it will face, and it knows its own fears, but it doesn't let those fears stop it. The fox doesn't make fear the master. It uses that fear to become smarter, quicker, more strategic. It's using its fears as a tool to move forward, to survive, and to thrive, and that's what you need to do. In your life, when you face fear, don't retreat. Don't freeze. Don't let that fear paralyze you. Let that fear guide you. Let it sharpen your mind. Let it help you calculate your next step. Fear tells you that you're on the edge of something powerful. It tells you that you're about to break through. But it's only going to lead you forward if you choose to move with it, not against it. I'm not telling you that fear will disappear, it won't. But I am telling you that you can control your response to it. The question is not whether fear will show up, but what you're going to do when it does. Are you going to let it stop you, or are you going to let it push you? The fox doesn't run away from the challenge. It faces it head on. It's the same with you. You must learn to take action in the face of fear. Fear doesn't have to hold you back. Fear can fuel you forward if you act with purpose. Too many people sit back waiting for the fear to disappear, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for the fear to subside before they take action. But the truth is, the perfect moment never comes. The fear never disappears. You just have to act. You have to move in the direction of your dreams, even when it scares you. That's what the fox does. And that's what you need to do. Remember this and hold on to it tightly. It's not the fear that holds you back. It's your response to it. The fox, when it faces fear, responds with strategy, with patience, with calculated steps. The way you respond to fear is what makes all the difference. You can't control the fear, but you can control your reaction to it. You can decide that fear will not stop you. You can choose to rise above it. Fear doesn't define you, your action does. Fear is a signal that you're on the verge of something big. But your action, your ability to move despite the fear, that's what shapes your destiny. Fear doesn't have the final word. You do. Your response to fear is what defines you, not the fear itself. I want to leave you with this thought. Fear will always be there. It's a part of life. But the fox shows us that fear is just a part of the terrain. It's just another challenge to navigate. And when you navigate that fear with strategy, with wisdom, and with bold action, you will unlock the power that fear was meant to reveal. Don't let fear stop you. Use it, transform it, and move forward. The path of the unseen. There's a path that few dare to walk. It's the path less traveled, the one that goes against the grain. And while others may be rushing in one direction, you might feel called to go in the opposite direction. The question is, will you have the courage to take that step? Will you choose to go against the current, even when it feels like everyone else is moving in the opposite direction? This path, the unconventional one, is where you will find the greatest opportunities and the most significant growth. But hear me. This. The greatest opportunities are often found in places where no one else dares to look. It's not about following the familiar path. It's about finding the one that no one else sees, the one that you're uniquely called to walk. And when you walk that path, when you dare to stand out, you're going to face resistance. You're going to face people who don't understand, people who criticize, and people who doubt you. But you've got to remember this. Resistance is a sign that you're on the right track. Imagine, if you will, a fox navigating through a dense forest. The fox doesn't just run wildly. No, it moves with precision. It knows exactly where it's going, even though the others can't see the path. The fox doesn't rush. It moves with purpose, staying focused on its next step, even when the terrain is thick, when the path is obscured. It doesn't make its moves based on what others see. It makes them based on its own instincts, based on its own clarity. In your life, when you're walking down an unconventional path, you won't always see the full picture. You won't always know exactly where the road leads. But what the fox teaches us is this. You don't need to see the whole thing. You just need to take the next step, and the next, and the next. Being crazy like a fox doesn't mean acting recklessly. It means having clarity in the midst of chaos. It means seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. It's about having a vision, even when the path isn't clear to anyone else. The fox doesn't need a map. It trusts its instincts to guide it. You've got to develop that same clarity. You've got to develop that same focus. There are going to be moments in your journey when the path is so unclear that you'll doubt your decisions. There will be moments when it feels like you're walking blind, with no guarantee that the next step will land on solid ground. But here's the key. If you can hold on to your vision, if you can stay grounded in your purpose, you will find your way through the darkness, just like the fox. And that clarity will become your guide. Success is a journey through a dense forest. The trees may be thick, the terrain may be rough, the obstacles may be many. But you, like the fox, can find your way through. There are going to be moments when it feels like the forest is closing in, when the path is not clear, and when the obstacles seem insurmountable. But here's the thing. You don't have to see the entire forest. You just have to know where to step next. And step by step, you'll make your way through. I want you to understand this. The path of the unseen is not a path of certainty. It's a path of faith. It's a path of belief. It's a path where you trust that even when you can't see the way ahead, you keep moving forward. Like the fox, you don't need to see the end of the journey to begin. You just need to trust the next step, and the next, and the next. As we close this segment, I want you to think about your own journey. Are you willing to take the road less traveled? Are you willing to walk the path of the unseen, the one that others may not understand? Are you ready to trust your vision even when it feels like the world is walking in the opposite direction? Just remember this. The fox knows the way even when others don't. You know the way too. You just have to keep trusting it and keep moving forward. The path may not be clear to everyone else, but it's clear to you. The journey of consistency. Success isn't a single event. It's not just that one moment when you cross the finish line or get the award. No, success is a journey. It's a path that you walk every single day. It's about the decisions you make, the steps you take, the risks you embrace, and most importantly, it's about the consistency you maintain as you walk toward your goal. That's where most people miss it. They think success is about hitting it big, about finding that one breakthrough moment. But the truth is, success is about the little decisions, the little steps, the consistent effort you put in every single day. It's about getting up every day, even when you don't feel like it. It's about pushing through the tough times, even when you're uncertain. Success is in the journey, and consistency is what makes that journey worthwhile. And you must have that same mentality. You've got to be relentless. It doesn't matter what you're facing right now. It doesn't matter how tough things seem. If you keep moving forward, if you keep grinding, if you keep doing what you know needs to be done, you will make it. Like the fox, you've got to understand that every step you take brings you closer to your goal, even when it seems like progress is slow. Be relentless. You see, success isn't easy. The fox has to make sacrifices. It has to navigate dangers. It has to go without sometimes to make sure it survives, and sometimes to thrive. It doesn't get instant gratification. The fox sacrifices for the future, for the long-term goal. This is where most people fail. They see success as something they can just reach out and grab. But success is not about immediate satisfaction. It's about laying the foundation. It's about building your future brick by brick, step by step. It's about pushing through the tough times, the early mornings, the late nights, and the sacrifices you make so that you can enjoy the rewards later. I want you to understand this. Success is a marathon, not a sprint. And the rewards come to those who endure the journey. You've got to be willing to put in the work, to put in the time, to make the sacrifices now so that later you can enjoy the fruit of your labor. I want you to ask yourself today, do you know your destination? Are you clear on where you're headed? Because when you know where you're going, you'll have the strength to keep moving forward, even when things get tough. Success is about being consistent, even when it feels like the odds are against you. It's about showing up every single day and doing the work, even when no one is watching. It's about being relentless. I want to encourage you today, keep going, keep moving. The sacrifices you make today will be the rewards of tomorrow. Success isn't easy, but it's always worth it. The fox doesn't stop, and neither should you. As we close out this part of the message, I want to challenge you. Look at your life and ask yourself, am I being consistent? Am I willing to make the sacrifices necessary to get where I want to go? The journey to success is long, but with consistency, with persistence, and with the mindset of the fox, you can achieve anything. Remember, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And every step, every effort, every sacrifice is part of that process. Stay the course and success will come. Building mental toughness. I want you to understand something today. The battle for success doesn't just happen on the outside. It's not about what you have, what your circumstances are, or who's around you. The real battle, the one that will determine your future, takes place right here, in your mind. Mental toughness is what separates those who succeed from those who fall by the wayside. You can be smart, you can be talented, you can be blessed with resources, but if you don't have the mental fortitude to stand in the face of adversity and keep moving forward, all that talent will be for nothing. Some of you right now are standing on the edge looking at the obstacles ahead of you, feeling like you can't go any further. Maybe you're tired, maybe you're frustrated, maybe you've tried and failed. But I want to tell you something. That failure is not the end. It's just the beginning of a new chapter. Your journey is far from over. The only way to fail is to stop. As long as you keep moving, you're not finished yet. Don't let fear cripple you. Don't let doubt hold you back. The mental toughness you need is already inside of you. It's not something you have to go looking for. You don't need to pray for it. You don't need to ask for it. You just need to decide today that you will stand, that you will fight, and that you will make it. The power of resilience is the ability to keep going, even when everything inside of you is screaming, stop. It's the strength to push through when you feel like you've reached your limit. It's about taking the hit and getting back up. It's about refusing to let anything or anyone define your future. I want you to think about it. How many times have you been knocked down? How many times have you felt like quitting? I know the weight of life can be heavy, and I know you faced challenges that made you question whether you should keep going. But hear me now. Every time you got back up, you proved something. You proved that you're stronger than you think. You proved that you're not just surviving, but you are thriving. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. This is a promise, my friend. God didn't make you to be weak. He didn't make you to be a victim. He didn't make you to fold under pressure. He made you to rise, to stand, to be resilient, and to overcome. You are equipped with everything you need to face the trials in your life. You are meant to stand out. You are meant to lead, to be bold, to take risks, and yes, to be crazy like a fox. Because when you walk in mental strength, when you walk in resilience, when you walk in the power that's inside of you, nothing can stop you. This is your time. This is your season. As we wrap up, let me remind you, don't let the world define you. Don't let fear dictate your path. You are built for greatness. You have been given everything you need to succeed. It's not going to be easy, but you are strong enough to handle it. You are tough enough to push through it. You are capable enough to make your dreams come true. You've got this, now go make it happen. Taking control of your destiny. I want you to imagine something. Picture a fox in the wild. No one else is shaping its path. No one is telling it where to go, what to do, or how to think. The fox moves through the forest with purpose, guided by its instincts and sharp intelligence. It knows that if it's going to survive, if it's going to thrive, it can't wait for someone else to lead the way. The fox must take control of its own journey, or it risks being lost. The fox doesn't ask for directions, it doesn't wait for the world to align perfectly before it takes its next step. It takes what's in front of it, works with what it's got, and uses its cleverness to find its way. One of the hardest truths you'll ever face is this: you are responsible for where you are in life. You are responsible for your actions, your decisions, and your choices. And I know that's a tough pill to swallow sometimes. It's much easier to blame others, to blame your circumstances, to blame the past. But the truth is, every decision you've made has led you to where you are now. And every decision you make from here on out will determine where you go next. So many people sit around waiting for someone else to give them permission to live their dreams. They wait for a mentor, a job offer, a lucky break, or for things to just fall into place. But let me tell you, life is not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about taking what you have and making something great out of it, right now. It's about acting with purpose, even when you don't have all the answers. It's about taking ownership of your destiny, because no one else is going to do it for you. So I want you to look at the person next to you, or if you're alone, I want you to look in the mirror and say this out loud: I am the author of my own story. I don't need permission to succeed. I am in control of my future. I have the power to change my life. Here's what I know. There are too many people out there waiting for permission to be successful. They're waiting for someone to tell them, it's okay to dream big. It's okay to pursue what's in your heart, or it's okay to step into your purpose. But let me remind you of something. You don't need anyone's permission to pursue your dreams. You have the ability to create your own path. You don't have to wait for approval. All you need is courage, action, and belief in yourself. You are not a passive observer in your own life. You are the one who chooses what your future looks like. You are the one who decides whether you'll play small or play big. You are the one who decides whether you'll sit back and wait, or if you'll step up and take action. Your destiny is in your hands. So today I want to leave you with this. You are the master of your fate. You are the captain of your ship. Don't let anyone, no matter how well-meaning, tell you that you can't go where you want to go. You have the power to take control. You have the ability to shape your destiny, to make bold decisions, to take risks. The world is full of people waiting for permission to succeed. But you are crazy like a fox. You don't wait for anyone. You create your path and you walk it with confidence. It's time to take charge. It's time to take action. It's time to make your destiny your own. All right, let's take a moment to recap the journey we've just gone on. We started by talking about what it means to think and act crazy like a fox. We explored how the world often mislabels those who dare to think differently, to challenge the norms and to step off the beaten path. But we also saw how those very individuals, those who are crazy in the eyes of others, are the ones who change the world, redefine industries, and leave a lasting legacy. We learned that being crazy like a fox isn't about being reckless. It's about being strategic, calculated, and daring. It's about seeing what others can't see, making bold moves where others see only risk, and pushing through fear and doubt to reach your destination. We also talked about the power of perception, how what the world calls crazy is often just a new way of thinking, a new approach that others haven't dared to try yet. The world calls them mad until they succeed, and when they do succeed, they reshape the way we all think. Finally, we discuss the importance of taking control of your destiny. Like the fox, you are the one who shapes your path. You are the one who decides how you will live, what risks you'll take, and what your future will look like. You don't need permission from anyone. Your life, your future, and your success are in your hands. But now here comes the real challenge. It's time to stop just thinking about what you could do or what you might do. It's time to act. It's time to take that first step. You have the knowledge, the power, and the vision to make something extraordinary happen in your life. The fox doesn't wait for the perfect moment. It doesn't wait for the right conditions or the right time. The fox takes action when it's ready, when it senses the opportunity, and when it knows that the time to act is now. So why should you be any different? Why should you wait for everything to fall into place before you make your move? The only thing standing between you and your future is you. I want to end today with a powerful reminder for you. You don't have to be like everyone else. You're not called to be ordinary. You were born to stand out, to make an impact, to change the world. You were born to be crazy like a fox. I want you to remember that being crazy isn't about being reckless, wild, or out of control. It's about seeing the world differently. It's about thinking strategically, taking bold actions, and doing what others are too afraid to do. The world will call you mad until you succeed, but you are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to make a difference. You are here to create something extraordinary. The world needs your unique vision. The world needs your boldness. The world needs your crazy, fox-like moves. Take risks, make your move, and watch the world change around you.